Illumination Entertainment seems to get a bad rap nowadays, and while I would not call them among my favorite current animation studios, I have enjoyed most of their works. However, there's certainly a formula there, and I've yet to see an Illumination production I love. Of their films, I think Sing is their best, as I feel it's a step in the right direction, and showcases a certain amount of ambition. To really understand what sets Sing apart, let's take a brief look at Illumination and how people perceive them. The studio is of course home to the Despicable Me franchise and those infamous minions who show up in the opening logos of all their films. When most people bring up Illumination, its founder and CEO, Chris Meledandri, is the name often mentioned. It makes sense, as his name is the first one to appear at the start of the movies, and Despicable Me even heavily advertised his previous credits from when he was a producer at 20th Century Fox. However, he's not the only creative force at the studio. Illumination films tend to be directed by either Chris Renaud or Pierre Coffin, or both, or written by the team of Ken Dario and Cinco Paul, or Brian Lynch, or both. And that's why there's a certain formula to them. Sing marked a departure for Illumination, as it became their first animated film directed and written by an outsider, in this case Garth Jennings, who previously directed the film adaptation of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Sing's ambitions come through in its decision to use a subgenre not often seen in animated films, the multi-story ensemble film. Movies like Magnolia, Crash, It's a Mad, 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 Mad World, Love Actually, and most fittingly Nashville fit into this category as they tackle the stories of a bunch of interconnected characters. That's why, while everyone watched the trailers and compared it to Zootopia, I thought of Nashville instead, as that film involves a large cast of characters preparing for a concert at a political rally. I admire that Sing took that approach, and most importantly, I felt the film managed to give the proper amount of time to develop each character. There wasn't one animal storyline where I thought it was less interesting than the others. Each was distinct, with their own problems to overcome, and all connected by the familiar let's put on a show plot. Of the central characters, my favorite is Rosita the pig. The film nicely showcases her balancing, taking care of her many offspring, while also being both nurturing and thinking on her feet. There's an appropriate motherly quality to her, and I thought Reese Witherspoon did a nice job voicing her. I also like the continuing optimism of Buster Moon as he puts his all into putting together the best show possible, and we see how much he cares about this theater and works to inspire the singers he recruits for the show. When we get the inevitable end of second act crisis, I felt genuinely sad towards Buster and his predicament, and Jennings really captures the emotion of the moment. Despite centering around a competition, I like how most of the main characters are genuinely supportive of one another. A lot of these movies about a contest, especially ones involving a potential monetary prize, tend to focus on the competitors ripping each other apart and trying to ruin the others. However, Sing takes a different approach by having the singers give each other compliments and hoping they perform well. The one exception is Mike the Mouse, the only character one would call unlikable. However, even his arc is clearly defined, as we see how his overconfidence in winning and attitude towards the other singers has a negative consequence on him. One criticism frequently leveled at Illumination is how their characters tend to have a similar design. One, that likely comes from Eric Yon being the principal character designer on their films, including on Sing. Two, I think his designs on Sing fit the larger ensemble. For instance, Mina the elephant is continually portrayed as shy, and the movie nicely portrays this through how she hides behind her ears. Ash, the punk rock porcupine design, takes advantage of her quill-filled hairstyle to craft a unique design, and Johnny the gorilla's slouch represents his uneasiness of standing up to his father. Put these characters into a group shot and you get a general idea of who they are. People were quick to compare Sing to Zootopia and label it a ripoff, but aside from both featuring cities populated by anthropomorphic animals, the two are nothing alike. Calling it a ripoff does not even take into account how long these big studio animated films take to make. If we're going to pull that card, then we might as well call Zootopia a knockoff of Richard Scarry's books. Making stories about cities with talking animals is hardly a unique concept, folks. Of course, a big element of Sing consists of the various musical numbers, covering a variety of songs, and I think Jennings chose some fitting tunes for the characters. Befitting a character voiced by Seth MacFarlane, Mike prefers big band numbers, Rosita opts for light pop, and Johnny goes for songs that reflect his inner emotions. And the decision to have Ash's final number being an original song written directly for Sing reflects her growing want throughout the film to showcase her originality and creativity. It would have been easy for the filmmakers to just go into iPod Shuffle and select songs they could obtain the rights to. There was genuine thought put into these song selections, and Jennings directs the performances with the proper amount of energy. Despite the many things I've praised Sing for, it is a rather simplistic film, plot-wise. It does not exactly depart heavily from other let's put on a show and save the theater stories. And the feel does bring to mind the classic musicals Judy Garland and Mickey Rooney would frequently star together in. This isn't a movie that provokes any kind of strong thoughts, and that goes for all the Illumination films, with the possible exception of The Lorax, which did have some themes about the environment and consumerism. However, I would not even consider that a negative. Not every movie has to have some complex themes. It's okay to be a simple crowd pleaser, and that's what Sing succeeds at being, a crowd pleaser. I also could have done without the one fart joke, which felt so in contrast to the rest of the film's humor. However, as I said in the beginning, Sing does present some departing from the usual formula of many Illumination productions, and I do think it's a step in the right direction for them. Illumination Entertainment is still a young studio, even though they have very much inserted themselves into the popular culture quite astonishingly. And while a lot of people seem to groan whenever a new Illumination film is announced or begins its marketing campaign, I look forward to the day I walk out of one of their films with a stronger reaction than, "That was good." I'm excited for when I'll finally love an Illumination production. Maybe it'll be this year's Grinch movie, or maybe their Super Mario Bros. Adaptation, or possibly an original project they have yet to reveal. It could even be Sing 2. Either way, I have seen every single Illumination movie on their original release, and that is not stopping anytime soon. See you next time.